Petrohori, Crete, 1986. Dmitri drives his old red truck up the mountains with speed, shifting forcefully, willing the groaning truck up and up, climbing into herb-scented air. The roadsides become more colorful with wildflowers, the houses spread out, and then suddenly the road narrows into a village. The stone walls surrounding the town are whitewashed, the streets cobbled. As Dmitri leads them to the church, his face assumes a dignified composure. His shirt is starched and pressed, and Ava is glad she's wearing her one and only skirt. Mickey turns and says, "Church?" He screws up his face, and Ava knows he is remembering the 3-hour incense-laden Orthodox church services of their childhood. But Dmitri has timed their arrival perfectly for lazy Westerners. They reach the church door just as it opens at the end of the service. Attendees spill out with smiles on their faces and green branches in their hands. A lovely Greek woman hands Ava her branch. Dmitri says it is a custom. This is called philoxenia, love of the stranger, hospitality. Everyone is welcoming them with branches. A large group gathers around them, jostling each other, remarking on how tall they are. They walk together, this group, down the stone cobbles where the purple bougainvillea drops blossoms like giant drops of blood on the street. The children run, tagging and teasing each other, watching the American faces, looking for resemblances. They could all be named Paputsakis. They enter what looks like a neighborhood store. Outside, a couple of commercial freezers advertise ice cream confections with bright blue illustrations. Inside, the advertising posters adorn the walls, mixed indiscriminately with Cretan folk art. A woolen hanging here, a chocolate-covered caramel bar there. The heady scent in the air, however, has nothing to do with ice cream, but instead conveys the deep, pungent smell of lamb. Women wearing flower-printed aprons bustle around, carrying baskets filled with bread. Tables line the length of the room, covered with paper tablecloths clipped on top of oilcloth. Carafes of wine join the bread on the tables. Mickey and Ava seat themselves across from Dmitri. He now seems an old friend amongst all these strangers who might be long-lost cousins or newcomers who moved here last week. "Try this, the local wine," Dmitri says. "It is good, I think." And he is right. Ava is struck by everyone's willingness to be happy, their eagerness to create a party, to put their concerns aside and sing together. She knows they must have woes, illnesses, bad business deals, breaches of trust, adulteries, and yet they come together. A young man of maybe 15 or 16 holds a lira on his knee, the neck touching his narrow collarbone. His voice is haunting. Stronger, bigger men surround him, requesting this or that song with their booming baritones. One song tells about a hero who led an adventurous and bawdy life. Ava catches an occasional word or phrase. Those eyes of hers. And then she saw him. I want it all. Glasses are raised, bottles emptied, meat gnawed off bones. Arms are slung around shoulders. Ava searches for her father's face among these singing men, and then she sees it behind a huge Cretan mustache. On a man with rosy cheeks and a hearty laugh. This man is Papa's spirit, as well as his face. For hours, the villagers sing, telling tales in song. After they've consumed acres of food, Mickey asks how he can pay back the generosity. Dmitri says, tipota, nothing, nothing. They ask again and again. Finally, Dmitri shrugs his shoulders. Maybe a little ice cream? Mickey goes out to the bright blue freezers covered with depictions of cartoon characters eating giant ice cream cones, peers inside. An aproned woman joins him, solicitous, wondering if she can help. He wants to buy the entire contents of the freezers. He knows how to say all in Greek, and like the heroes in the songs he's just heard, he says, "Tathelo ola, I want it all." The men are delighted and find another song with that refrain. The Leda is struck with the bow, producing the sound of a past they never knew, but now can't help but remember.
Thank you, Marcia. I find that idea of Greek hospitality and love of the stranger so interesting. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, yes, it's usually translated as love of the stranger, but we might translate it as guest or someone's unfamiliar, and it's actually in Homer as well, that when Odysseus travels, when he arrives anywhere, people feed him and give him comfort before even asking his name. When I read Nikos Kazantzakis' account of his travels around Crete, I was amazed by the similarity that he would knock on a door and people would ask him in and give him food and a place to sleep. And I've had similar experiences in Greece. I didn't go knocking on arbitrary doors, but once my father-in-law wanted to know how a old windmill worked, and there was a little house next to a windmill, and we did knock on the door just to ask if he could be shown what the windmill, how the works looked. But the people invited us into the house and fed us, and then we were able to ask about the windmill. Turned out the house didn't have anything to do with the windmill, but they sat us down, gave us food, and without any question. Even today in Greek restaurants, you will get served ouzo and appetizers and olives before you're given a menu. So that custom, that hospitality continues. And I think right now, it seems especially important to me in this time of racial strife and fear of immigrants. I am hoping that we can look to other models of welcoming the other, the stranger, philoxenia, yes.